I'm just here to tell you about what's going on in the world. It seems that a lot of people either are ignorant, which means they don't know what they're talking about, or they just don't know anything, or they have forgotten the truth, or they refuse to believe the truth. And the thing is that sin is rampant in the world, and the Bible tells us that it will be like this. The Bible tells us that it's going to get worse and worse, and that the world, the earth, is moaning with birth pangs. And people seem to think like I saw the news today. They said, "Oh, Biden lost Afghanistan." No, that stuff is planned. All of this stuff is planned. What's going on with the election? It was planned. What's going on with the schools and the vaccines? It's planned. What's going on with lockdowns? It's planned. It's all planned. Yes, God is in control. God's plan is above any other plan. But the point is, things are happening in this world because of sin. And nations as a whole have turned their back on God. Nations have turned their back on God. Nations have said, "We don't want you, God. We don't want you in our laws. We don't want you in our schools. We don't want you in our homes. We don't want you in our theaters or our restaurants." They want Satan. They want the devil. They want the great serpent, the dragon. That's who they want. And so now people are getting what they asked for. But the thing is, there are cycles of discipline. There are cycles of sin being dealt with all throughout history. And it's all in the Bible. It's all in just world history. If you really look and study, that sin is dealt with. It will be dealt with. God does not let sin just carry on and carry on. Sin has to be dealt with. And so when nations as a whole turn their back on God, then they're getting what they asked for. Also, they're getting, worldly leaders. They're getting worldly decisions being made. They're helping their children being indoctrinated into the world system of Satan. Everything that's happening now is just playing right into the hands of those that don't serve God. Everything that's happening right now, as far as the evil in the world, is what Satan wants, and people are trying to equate that to, oh, climate change. Oh, this is happening because Biden made a bad decision. No, Biden is a puppet. Biden doesn't run the country. He is told what to do by people that you will never see, by people that are in the shadows, by people that actually run the world. So the problem is that people have turned their backs on God. And so when people turn their backs on God, then now they don't have any protection from Him, and they don't have His hand over them. And when God lifts His hand from a nation, then things begin to happen. And yes, it's in the Bible that it'll happen this way because God already wrote history. God already has finished everything. But it's got to be walked out. But the thing is, nations don't have to turn away from God. Nations could have the protection of God. Nations could be pleading the blood of Jesus against things that are happening, but they're not. So as a whole, nations will be dealt with. God's always dealt with nations as a whole. And people seem to forget this. They seem to forget that the planet is run by evil servants of the devil. And you can laugh if you want to. I'm not here to be famous. I'm just trying to put the truth out. Maybe it's good for one person. If one person gets it, then so be it. But it's sad that people keep thinking that, oh, this is just happening because of this, or it's happening because of this. No, sin's being dealt with. And, people think, oh, that little old lady that was in her house that got killed in the flood was just a good little old lady. Well, more than likely, that little old lady also turned her back on God and has forgotten God over the years. I'm not saying there's not good people that have died, But as a whole, there are more people turning their backs on God. There are more people that are doing witchcraft in the dark. There are more people that are turning to magic instead of turning to Christ. There are more people that are completely giving themselves over to idols, be it movies and TV or sex or alcohol or drugs and partying or trying to be famous on social media. The world is turning away from God, and that's what happens when people and nations turn away from God.